imeletwa kwako kwa niaba ya Wizara ya Leba na Huduma za Jamii.
Of governance is vast and can be alien to the ordinary man on the street.
Critical issues are going to be discussed.
From white papers to policy positions, it is easier to get lost in the labyrinth of words.
Inside Government takes you to key global metropolis where critical decisions are made and where policies are crafted.
We interview policymakers and senior government officials to highlight and enumerate government policies and projects. We take a deep dive into the underbelly of complex red tape to demystify policies across the country, across the world. Join me, O'Brien Kimani, on Inside Government, only on KBC Channel 1. I ain't going nowhere. Those are the words of Chief Justice Martha Koome. Who is she telling that? We have the details right here. Plus, faith-based health organizations are saying no pay, no services. Who needs to pay? The details are coming up right now. You're watching the Prime Edition. We are live from our national headquarters here in Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. My name is O'Brien Kimani. You're right on time for the most elaborate news this side of Sahara. You're welcome to the show. And before we kick the stories, let's first of all have a look at the highlights first. Faith-based hospitals issue 14-day ultimatum demanding the government settles the 10 billion shillings outstanding NHIF debt. Misguided energy. Chief Justice Martha Koome dismisses plans to dethrone her from the helm of the Judiciary. Who will it be? Charles Nyachai and Ann Amadi among 37 applicants shortlisted for the IEBC chairperson position.
Petition was released, but there is a shortfall. There is a balance of 14 billion, which the ministry is working very, very closely with Treasury to ensure that it is released.
And Education CS Julius Ogamba reassures schools that the 14 billion shillings delayed capitation will be released soon. And we are in the company of Brian Moraru, as our sign language interpreter, and of course in the company of a great team of producers and directors, plus the camera people. Well, the Kenya faith-based health service providers have issued a 14-day ultimatum demanding immediate payment of outstanding National Health Insurance Fund and Social Health Fund debt. According to the health providers, the debts amounting to 10 billion shillings have crippled their operations, with the facilities unable to pay or to meet their financial obligations, such as payment of staff salaries and distributors. They have vowed to suspend services for SHA patients if their demands are not met.
Hours after President William Ruto announced that hospitals with NHIF claims totaling 10 million shillings and below will be paid in full, while those with claims of more than 10 million shillings will be subjected to a verification exercise. The Kenya faith-based service providers have reacted, saying as noble as the gesture may be, it is not enough.
Does anyone in government have any doubt on the veracity, the truthfulness of the claims from the faith-based facilities? If so, why has it taken months? And why are we bringing in the whole system of verification for faith-based at this end?
The providers announced that the faith-based hospitals are almost on their knees, with NHIF claims worth 6.8 billion shillings dating back to 2016 remaining unpaid. Additionally, 2.15 billion shillings remains unpaid under the Social Health Authority in the last 3 months.
They have never come to a place of this crisis where services are being cut down and where a number of them are facing imminent closure.
We recommend that SHA to provide a transparent portal dashboard for invoice tracking that can be downloaded for review by hospitals.
Faith-based health services providers are issuing a 14 days ultimatum demanding for immediate payment of outstanding NHIF, SHA, and Makel debts. We will be forced to suspend offering services to beneficiaries of the said scheme and offer the services to them on cash basis.
We are not able to absorb any more debts. We are saturated. We have reached the saturation point in this matter.
The announcement comes as the Rural, Urban and Private Hospitals Association has announced the resumption of services under Social Health Authority at their facilities following the announcement of a debt settlement plan by President William Ruto on Wednesday.
In recognition of this commitment, RUFA has resolved to lift the suspension of SHA-funded services effective immediately, while continuing to monitor the implementation of these commitments. However, the suspension of services under Medical Administrator Kenya Limited (MAKL) scheme will continue indefinitely due to MAKL's failure to engage with providers and address the serious concerns affecting service delivery for our teachers and police officers.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
From health corridors to the corridors of justice, where Chief Justice Martha Koome has dismissed plans to dethrone her from the helm of the judiciary. Koome has also denied claims of graft and mismanagement in the institution, insisting that the judiciary has taken elaborate steps to curb the vice. The CJ spoke on Thursday while presiding over the launch of ECO Network Africa Foundation in Nairobi.
Amid its ongoing debate on her proposed removal from office, Chief Justice Martha Koome on Thursday came out gun-blazing, vowing not to succumb to pressure. According to CJ Koome, those accusing her of mismanagement of the judiciary are peddling baseless claims without evidence.
Who is bringing bribes to the judiciary? I don't know who. Why are they bringing bribes? Who will help me fight? People who are walking in the night? How will I see them? I don't have a system of investigations.
The CJ defended her record in ensuring accountability among all judicial officers by inviting Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate claims of corruption in the judiciary.
We have come up with a framework of each institution to fight corruption, all the justice sectors. And the judiciary, we have gone ahead and established integrity committees in every court.
But the unprecedented attack on the Chief Justice is not about corruption. It is about the fact that she's a woman and that the men are uncomfortable when a woman is in a position of authority.
Read the names, but for now, we are unveiling.
Speaking during the launch of the Eco Network Africa Foundation in Nairobi, the CJ called for deliberate efforts in according women in the country equal leadership and elective positions. Dignitaries who graced the occasion, including the chair of the board of KBC, Tom Mshindi, emphasized the need for affirmative action for women to tackle societal challenges that adversely affect their professional growth and development.
We live in a situation where women are still struggling to be recognized, to be allowed to go to school, to be given their humanity.
And we cannot relent. We just have to push forward and make sure that we get the space for women in this country.
Our focus to transform the lives of girls and women has remained constant, despite the changes with who we are.
ENAF's programs is our development. We deal with development and development of families through women.
Joseph Ohungu for Prime Edition.
The National Assembly ICT Committee has committed to assist the state broadcaster KBC to ensure it gets a facelift to effectively discharge its mandate in promoting government interest. The corporation is seeking over 1.2 billion shillings to finance its modernization program, with the committee vying to scrutinize the state broadcaster over its performance and financial management based on the substantial funding request.
The Kenya Broadcasting Corporation Management, led by the Managing Director Agnes Kalechai and the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy on Thursday, appeared before the ICT Committee. Among the issues submitted were rationalizing vehicle procurement, expanding coverage, and revamping its infrastructure. In its submission, KBC requested for 450 million shillings for Studio Mashinani project, 425 million shillings for the migration of medium wave to FM, and 360 million shillings for the procurement of modern equipment.
To admit working from a zero-sum approach. Indeed, that is exactly what we will do, because we can only plan. We can only plan with what we have. So if we have zero, we have to work towards zero. But we are hoping that we should be able to convince Treasury for some of the most necessary funding that we need.
Best case scenario is we get 100% of our request, because for the personnel emolument, it's a very emotive thing, and also to comply with the labor standards.
To cut down on operation cost, KBC is considering solar energy, which could cut expenses by 180 million shillings annually.
We are taking to Cabinet a memo requesting that internet be classified as a vital and essential service, so that it is exempt from all this business of county governments where it lives.
Some members of parliament criticized KBC's content and visual quality, arguing that the world has moved beyond soft diplomacy and calling for a facelift.
Do not think of the old model and the traditional model of broadcast. Take your time, because you've only got one go at this. If this rebrand of KBC, the reformatting of KBC fails this time, when you have the goodwill of Katibu, of this committee, and even to the highest office, if you miss this opportunity, there might never be another opportunity.
Studio Mashinani, introduced in 2014, was also questioned whether it aligns with the current digital trends, suggesting a merger with digital innovation hubs to cut cost. The Principal Secretary in the State Department of Broadcasting and Telecommunications, Professor Edward Kisiangani, welcomed the suggestion, assuring the committee that restructuring would be considered.
Now time has come for us in terms of budgeting to move money from those sectors that used to take a lot of money in the 70s and the 80s, 2000, and now give massive resources to this sector so that it can help run the economy.
With one of restructuring, maybe funding would really help the organization so that we can structure and have a workforce that we can comfortably afford.
Despite KBC's funding requests, members of parliament demanded firm assurances that investment would yield returns, urging KBC to cover unique identity in the media space. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
Thanks, Gladys Mongai. Human rights defenders are now calling for urgent legal reforms to criminalize acts of gender-based violence and femicide in the country. Led by National Coalition for Human Rights Defenders Kenya, the organization says insufficient legal infrastructure for dealing with criminal acts against women has inhibited the fight against the menace in the corridors of justice. The call comes as the country gears to celebrate International Women's Day, slated for the 8th of March 2025.
According to the Defenders Coalition Executive Director Kamau Ngugi, the organization recorded at least 170 cases of femicide in 2024.
170 women. Most of them are breadwinners. These are hardworking women. These are young women with a future, just killed just because they are women. And I think, and again the year before, again about 75 women were killed in 2023 just because they are women. I think those kind of statistics should scare everyone, and I think we need to look for lasting solutions.
It is against the backdrop of these alarming figures that the human rights defenders have instructed the 42-member task force committee on gender-based violence and femicide formed by President William Ruto to expedite the process of criminalizing such acts.
We want that the issues that affects women can be criminalized, just like murder or rape, or it has to be put into law so that any person that is found perpetrating issues on women or girls can face the law like a murderer, like a rapist, like a thief.
The defenders, who met to deliberate on various recommendations to the task force in Nairobi, at the same time faulted what they say is the sluggish pace of handling such cases in the corridors of justice.
The wheels of justice take too long. Yet, if those matters were concluded quickly, there will be deterrent and other people will stop engaging in such violations. But for as long as it takes too long to address some of these cases, we have always requested, and we are happy that we had representation from the ODPP. The cases that touches on the killing of members of our society, particularly women, should be fast-tracked.
The advocates further called for concerted efforts to address the deep-seated social and cultural norms which continue to exacerbate gender-based violence and femicide in the country.
We have women who are even afraid to talk about gender issues. The lack of gender desk, visible gender desks at the community police posts is also still a gap in our communities.
This comes as the nation prepares to commemorate the International Women's Day on Saturday, 8th of March 2025. John Kahiro, Prime Edition.
On to education matters, where Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos Ogamba has reassured secondary school heads and parents that the delayed 14 billion shillings first-term capitation will be released soon. Speaking at a technical and vocational education training meeting in Eldoret, Ogamba urged school heads not to send students home as efforts to resolve the issue are underway. The CS assured the public that by September, a new, more efficient university funding model would be in place.
Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos Ogamba has appealed to secondary school heads across the country not to send students home due to delays in the disbursement of first-term capitation funds. Ogamba confirmed that his ministry is actively collaborating with Treasury to release 14 billion shillings shortfall, hoping it will be resolved by next week.
It is not the parents who pay the school fees. The school fees is paid through the capitation from our government. So we are doing everything we can to ensure that that 14 billion balance is released very, very soon. We are hoping that it will be released by next week.
Speaking during the quarterly meeting of TVET principals at the Eldoret National Polytechnic, Ogamba emphasized that while the government covers the cost of secondary education through capitation, the ministry is working around the clock to ensure the funds reach schools as soon as possible.
I just want to assure the country that as a government we are doing something about the release of that capitation, and going forward we are working on mechanisms to ensure that the capitation is actually released on time, so that we do not have these challenges that the head teachers and the pupils are going through.
The CS confirmed the Presidential Review team is finalizing its report on the controversial university funding model and assured that a more efficient model will be in place by September.
Once it is finalized, we'll discuss the recommendations therein and how they have dealt with the teething problems that were there in the previous model. So we are doing something on that aspect so that come September, when the new cohort is joining, they will be utilizing a model that is fit for purpose, that does not have the challenges that the previous model had.
Ogamba called for greater integrity and professionalism in public institutions, warning against misconduct or political interference. He also highlighted the government's initiative to enroll 3.5 to 4 million youth in TVET programs for skills development and entrepreneurship. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Well, the race to get a new chairperson for the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission is on. Who has applied and who was shortlisted? We have full details of that report on this bulletin. You're watching Prime Edition with me, O'Brien and Kimani. We are taking a break, and thereafter we are back with more stories.
Inuka na loto moto sasa kwa star 570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location, few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord, mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na loto moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia star 570 hash option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na loto moto.
Imagine, unalea mtoto, anakuwa mtu mzima na anakuondokea, anakaa kivyake. Dakika ya mwisho, anarudi tu kama mtoto. Wewe ndio kumpea chakula, wewe ndio kumfulia nguo, wewe ndio mambo yote. Mefika mwisho, hata mkiangalia hii mtoto, kama mimi nilikuwa na uwezo, hangekuwa hivi. Kama dakika hivi naongea hivi. Hakuna dawa ya kukunywa nyumba hii. Hakuna pesa ya kumrudisha hospitali. Tafadhali, naomba usaidizi kutoka kwenu na Mungu atawabariki.
This is the Prime Edition. We are live from Broadcasting House. Welcome back. The former East African Court of Justice Judge Charles Nyachai and ex-Judiciary Chief Registrar Anne Amadi are among notable figures who have been shortlisted for the position of IEBC chairperson. Others who applied for the top job are the anniversary towers and have not made it to the list of the 37 are KPLC Board Chairperson Joy Masinde Mundivo, ex-IEBC CEO James Oswago and Advocate Francis Kissinger. The IEBC selection panel has shortlisted 1,356 Kenyans, out of which 37 were shortlisted for the position of the chairperson.
The road to the reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, 2.5 years later, is gaining momentum, with the selection panel sharing the list of those who have been shortlisted in the first round of shortlisting. The selection panel, led by Dr. Nelson Makanda, has underscored the strong interest Kenyans have shown in overseeing the country's poll. Out of the 1,848 Kenyans who applied, 1,356 made the cut in the first shortlisting process. 492 of the applicants did not make it to the first round of shortlisting. The strong interest in electoral leadership appearing to come from Western and Nyanza regions. An analysis of the applications received by 9-member team shows that Homa Bay County topped the list in both submissions for the chairperson and member at 63, followed closely by Kisii with 62, Bungoma 59, Kakamega 54. Other candidates interested in the role were Siaya 43, Kisumu 39, Busia 36, Migori 36, Nyamira 35, and Vihiga 34. In the Mount Kenya region, Meru recorded a significant number with 43 applicants, just like Northeastern's Wajir, which has 37, Trans Nzoia has 36, while Lamu had the lowest number of applicants at just 3, followed by Turkana and Samburu with 7 each. Others are Tharaka Nithi with 8, Nyandarua 8, Nairobi 8, and Laikipia 9. Among the notable figures who have been shortlisted are former East African Court of Justice Judge Charles Nyechai, ex-Judiciary Chief Registrar Ann Amadi, KPLC Board Chairperson Joy Brenda Masinde Medivo, ex-IEBC CEO James Oswago, and Advocate Francis Kisanga, among others. The 37 individuals shortlisted for the chairperson position comprise of 6 women and 31 men. The gender breakdown of applicants revealed that 1,078 were male, representing 80.8%, while 237 were female, accounting for 16% of the total applications. The panel also stated that duplicate applications were recorded for both roles, alongside 91 reference applications and 14 deemed astray submissions. The panel is expected to conclude its work by April. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Interior and National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen says banditry in the northern parts of the country has gone down by 70%. Kipchumba has attributed this to deployment of technology to combat crime. Kipchumba, who was speaking when he commissioned the second batch of the mine-resistant ambush-protected MRAP standard duty vehicles at the General Service Unit headquarters, Ruaraka, noted the vehicles will assist in fighting cattle rustling and banditry in the northern part of the country.
On Thursday morning, Interior and National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen led top security government officials, including National Police Service Inspector General Douglas Kanja, for the commissioning of a new batch of mine-resistant ambush-protected standard duty vehicles at the General Service Unit headquarters, Ruaraka, in Nairobi County. It was here that the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen noted that due to modernization of security equipment in the country, banditry and cattle rustling has reduced by 70%.
Because of the program that was put in place for the last 2 years, you have seen that the criminal elements, particularly those who are operating in areas in northern part of the country, including the Kerio Valley region, as particularly on the challenge of cattle rustling and banditry, was significantly scaled down.
The CS says stability witnessed in northern Kenya and Kerio Valley for the last 2 years is due to the modernization of security equipment.
As to ensure that we secure this nation further and to make sure that our officers are protected from a few criminal elements that may be wanting to harm the citizens and harm also officers who are providing cover for law and order, the government of Kenya put in place a modernization program under the leadership of President William Ruto.
The PS in the ministry, Dr. Raymond Omolo, and Inspector General, National Police Service, Douglas Kanja, assured that everything is being done to guarantee the safety and security of citizens across the country.
But right now, in many areas, the guns are silent. The guns are not silent because they have decided to be silent. No. The effectiveness of these vehicles, coupled with the good training of the officers, that we are very happy because the government have really invested a lot in these officers. That is what has actually ensured that the guns remains silent.
We have a very stable state of security in the nation, and the assurance to everybody is that we will continue to do our best as we work closely with the officers under the leadership of the Inspector General to make sure that we sustain.
Lack of a stable security situation in Kenya's neighboring countries like Somalia and Sudan has, however, been identified as a threat to Kenya's security, with the CS saying the government continues with the reform agenda, which includes addressing the resource gap in the sector.
From the front line to the corridors of justice, where Moses Otieno Dola, who was convicted of manslaughter and jailed for 10 years for the killing of his wife, Sarah Wambui Kabiru, a reporter in 2011, is now a free man. Dola, who was sentenced after pleading guilty to the crime in 2018, was released after serving 7 years behind bars. This is after he successfully filed an application seeking his early release on grounds he had spent 23 months in custody prior to the commencement of the case. Ruth Wambui with the details.
The decision by Justice Alexander Muteti on Thursday falls within Chief Justice Koome's guidelines on judicial review of sentences that are within 3 years of lapsing. Dola was found guilty of killing his wife, Sarah Wambui Kabiru, a former NTV reporter, in 2011 at the Umoja home in Nairobi, and was sentenced in 2018. He had first been charged for murder before it was reduced to manslaughter by Judge Roslyn Koril, who noted there is no one who could account for what happened to Kabiru on that fateful day, as there were no witnesses when the incident occurred. He spent 23 months in custody before he successfully filed an application for his early release, having been in custody prior to his sentencing. After the verdict, Dola, who had enrolled at the Kenya School of Law, thanked Justice Muteti for allowing his application. Else, Majority Leader in the August House, Kimani Ichung'wah, suffered a legal setback after the High Court dismissed his bid to hold defamation proceedings filed against him by lawyer Danstan Omari. In a ruling on Thursday, the court also directed Ichung'wah to cover Omari's legal costs. Justice Thropsisa Cherere denied Ichung'wah's applications to stay the proceedings, stating that the legislator had failed to demonstrate how continuing the case could cause him irreparable harm. Ruth Wambui for Prime Edition.
Well, players from various sectors are urging Kenya to draw viable lessons from China on how it managed to entangle itself from poverty in less than 50 years to be in the league of superpowers. During a roundtable meeting organized by the China Media Group focused on opportunities arising from China's development, the various actors highlighted how Chinese people-centered policy making engages all citizens in addressing the nation's most pressing needs, enable the nation to travel as one.
The roundtable meeting, organized by China Media Group in Nairobi, featured several experts advocating for a governance model that provides practical solutions to the challenges facing Kenya and the African continent. Professor Patrick Maluki from the Department of Diplomacy and International Studies at the University of Nairobi noted that while China's success in industrialization and manufacturing has been significant, the nation's stability, supported by people-centered policies, could serve as a model for Kenya.
Kwa sababu uongozi ni ule ambao, uongozi bora ni ule unatokana na wananchi na unatumika kwa manufaa ya wananchi. Uongozi wa Uchina umeuzisha wananchi wa Uchina katika mipangilio ya maendeleo na imekuwa inaleta manufaa kwa wananchi wote.
Kavins Adhir, an international relations expert, said China's emphasis on technology transfer and innovation has driven its economic transformation that drove the country to a path of success in less than 60 years. He believes Kenya could benefit from similar partnerships with China, focusing on acquiring new technologies and knowledge to enhance productivity in sectors like agriculture and manufacturing.
China today is a consequential development partner. It's a top source of technologies. You have seen what has happened with DeepSeek and artificial intelligence. You are seeing what's going on with terms of their innovation, in terms of industrial expansion.
Hiyo ndio sehemu moja ambayo Afrika imebaki nyuma kidogo kwa sababu sisi hatuna huyo ujuzi ambao China wamepata.
The experts also discussed how China currently presents platforms that Kenya and Africa can leverage for sustainable development.
China is at a position to support some of these initiatives. In China, they see a long-term partner, they see a predictable partner that has already laid, for example, foundation of cooperation for the next 3 years.
Chinese investors in Kenya pledged to target more in programs that will stimulate the country's development by investing in special economic zones and promoting manufacturing, which could increase exports and create jobs.
So Kenya, we have very confidence. Also, we have patience to invest here. We will think it will provide more, not only in business, but also it's a mutual benefit for China and Kenya.
During the meeting, officials from the Kenya Investment Authority, Export Process Zones Authority, and the Special Economic Zones Authority advocated for Kenya, emphasizing that the country is continuously improving its investment climate. For Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
Time now to have a look at the business sectors where organizations should establish comprehensive, secure channels for reporting concerns of financial mismanagement internally and externally. Institute of Internal Auditors CEO Dr. Joyce Omena says this proactive approach helps identify problems early and foster trust among employees, enhancing overall organizational health.
Ongoing issues plaguing the Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, KUSCO, stakeholders in the audit sector have raised concerns on how to safeguard organizations from financial irregularities. Institute of Internal Auditors CEO Dr. Joyce Omena says there is a need to promote independence of internal auditors from the departments they are auditing to ensure objectivity.
Their positioning in the organizations, they need to be at a level where they cannot be intimidated, they can report independently and given the powers that they deserve in order to raise these issues, and then they can be addressed even at the public level.
Companies have also been urged to adopt the zero-fault audit regime, which promotes international best practices to reinforce good governance, integrity, accountability, and transparency.
The Institute, together with PSSB, have done a lot of sensitization at internal audit level and at board audit committee levels to sensitize the members on the new global internal audit standards and their different mandates, including senior management on their role in internal audit in terms of closing internal audit issues and following up on recommendations.
We are requesting that all entities be able to adopt those standards and ensure that they are using the revised templates that we have been able to put out there in form of charters, in form of audit reporting templates.
This comes as the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, in collaboration with the Institute of Internal Auditors, unveiled the Internal Audit and Risk Awards 2025. The award seeks to recognize excellence in internal audit and risk management in the public sector while promoting compliance with the latest internal audit standards. Ndota Mokami for Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbandi says the pending bills verification committee has recommended for settlement of over 206 billion shillings, out of the 660 billion shillings worth of pending bills. Mbandi also says suppliers who are owed by the government up to 10 million shillings will start receiving their payments after completion of an ongoing verification process of the stock of pending bills.
Preliminary reports submitted to the National Assembly's Liaison Committee by the Pending Bills Verification Committee queried pending bills worth 268 billion shillings for lack of proper documentation. However, the Audit Committee cleared 206 billion out of the total pending bills amounting to 660 billion shillings. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbandi says the government will start settling amounts owed to suppliers with outstanding amount ranging between 1 million shillings and 10 million shillings. Mbadi says the cluster comprises of 70% of the pending bills and will inject the much-needed capital to small and medium enterprises, as well as finance suppliers and contractors to ensure they continue to offer service, delivery and support job retention. Stanbic Bank believes payment of pending bills will help reduce the stock of non-performing loans by banks in Kenya.
The last part will be largely your enterprise clients or SMEs, where largely because of the delayed payments and what we see as pending bills. And you see a lot of actions, particularly from road authorities, to deal with some of those gaps which have happened. So the sovereign is doing the right things to address some of the bigger challenges it faced last year. And here sovereign meaning government of Kenya.
Mbadi says energy, infrastructure, ICT, health, education and public administration, international relations, agriculture and national security are among sectors with the highest outstanding pending bills that have been cleared for payment. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Jet A1, cheza avieta bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Avieta bila data, avieta bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobet.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
The world of governance is vast and can be alien to the ordinary man on the street. Critical issues are going to be discussed. From white papers to policy positions, it is easier to get lost in the labyrinth of words.
Inside Government takes you to key global metropolis where critical decisions are made and where policies are crafted.
We interview policymakers and senior government officials to highlight and enumerate government policies and projects. We take a deep dive into the underbelly of complex red tape to demystify policies across the country, across the world. Join me, O'Brien Kimani, on Inside Government, only on KBC Channel 1. Welcome back. Agri-entrepreneurs have been urged to venture into commercial farming of lesser-known fruits such as tree tomato, pomegranate, gooseberries, jackfruit and moringa. The Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization says these fruits could be the key in unlocking more profitable venture in the horticulture space.
Boasts a diverse climate ideal for the cultivation of a variety of fruits that have yet to be fully exploited in both local and international markets. The fruits, according to crop scientists, include indigenous species such as tree tomato, pomegranate, gooseberries, jackfruit and moringa, which, according to the government, have the potential to diversify the country's agricultural exports and enhance food security.
In agriculture, some of these products
we create a market for ourselves. We don't wait for the market to be there. We prepare the produce and basically start introducing the products that to the communities and help them adapt by helping them to see the value, and secondly, how to do value addition.
Kenya Agricultural, Livestock and Research Organization's Biotechnology Research Institute Director Martin Mwirigi, who was speaking during the Calros Biotech Exhibition Week, says over-reliance on traditional crops like maize and tea has left many farmers vulnerable to the risks of market fluctuation and climate change.
Market can be created. So for the young people, I would encourage them to see the niche or the opportunity that these neglected crops can be able to help them and then create their own market.
Experts believe that beyond their economic benefits, the underutilized fruits are also crucial in addressing Kenya's nutritional challenges. The agricultural sector continues playing a pivotal role in the revitalization of Kenya's economy. Agripreneurs have been challenged to commercialize underutilized fruits in the country in a bid to accelerate its utilization and increase farmers' income. Reporting for Prime Edition, my name is Frederick Mwoki.
Many thanks, Frederick Mwoki. Let's now talk about the beauty of Kenya, and this is my favorite part. The Kapedo Hot Springs is a captivating oasis that promises visitors an unforgettable experience. Situated in the arid terrain of Baringo County, this natural thermal springs offer a unique blend of adventure, relaxation and cultural immersion, making them an ideal destination for travelers seeking something beyond the ordinary, as highlighted tonight on Magical Scenes.
Kapedo Hot Springs is renowned for its crystal clear waters heated by the Earth's geothermal activity. The springs bubble up from the ground, creating a series of natural pools that vary in temperature, allowing visitors to choose their perfect soak. Surrounded by stunning landscapes, including rolling hills and lush vegetation, the springs are a visual feast for the senses. However, visiting Kapedo is not just about enjoying the therapeutic waters. It's also an opportunity to engage with the rich culture of the local communities. The area is home to the Turkana people, known for their vibrant traditions and warm hospitality. Travelers can interact with the locals, learn about their way of life, and even participate in cultural activities such as traditional dance and music. This immersive experience allows visitors to appreciate the deep-rooted customs and resilience of the Turkana community, adding a meaningful dimension to their journey. And for the adventurous spirits, Kapedo offers activities beyond the hot springs. The surrounding landscapes are perfect for hiking, bird watching, and exploring the diverse flora and fauna unique to this region.
The expression of those countries are not my expectation in Africa. So I came here, Kenya. I think maybe I thought I had find my feelings, my expressions, or my dream place here in Kenya. Maybe that is where I should come, and here's what I need to find.
So far, how is the experience?
Yeah, gorgeous, I think. Because I think the people in Kenya, they live a very, I can say maybe a peaceful or harmonious life with the nature. That is the part which attracts me most. And people here, actually, they are sometimes simple. And the scenery is very nature or beautiful and wild animals. I think they are the happiest animals in the whole world, maybe, because here it is their home.
Chuma Odim, Magical Sense in the county of Baringo.
Stationery manufacturer Kenafric has announced its expansion into the East African stationery market following the acquisition of Economic Industries Limited. The acquisition, which received unconditional approval from the Competition Authority of Kenya, makes Kenafric one of Kenya's largest stationery manufacturers, significantly strengthening its market position.
Kenya's stationery market is projected to grow by 3.6% over the next 5 years, driven by government initiatives to improve education standards, enhance textbook access and support children affected by poverty. Following the acquisition of Economic Industries Limited, Kenafric plans to use its extensive distribution network to introduce stationery products into Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
The products that Economic produces locally are not sent across East Africa. With Kenafric's network across East Africa, we envision to take these products into the broader East African markets.
Kenafric Group CEO Mikul Shah says the goal is to scale production, lower costs and offer consumers better prices while expanding access to quality stationery across East Africa.
And they're very much locally focused. We were very much export focused, and we had different product range that came together to produce a good synergy, and that's what brought us together.
Shah says by bringing their operations together, the two companies create a synergy that allows for increased production capacity, product diversification and cost efficiencies. Following the merger, Bhavesh Shah, the former managing director of Economic Industries Limited, has been appointed managing director stationery division at Kenafric Manufacturing Limited. Betty Kiptum, Prime Edition.
Let's now go beyond our boundaries and have a look at international business news, where China has achieved new progress in independent development of advanced aircraft engines, with 3 new models to undergo maiden flight and obtain production certification this year. The chief engineer Shan Xiaoming says that new models of aero engines to undergo maiden flight this year are the AES 100, the AES 20 and the AEP 100. More details next in our international business news.
The AES 100 and the AES 20 are advanced civil turboshaft engine independently developed by China. They are mainly used on civil helicopters deployed in multiple fields, including agriculture and forestry, plant protection, air monitoring, and traffic supervision. An AEP 100 engine that can be installed on drones with a takeoff weight of 3 to 10 tons will also undergo its first flight this year, and its overall performance has met the advanced technological levels of the same grade aero engines developed by other countries. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said he will temporarily spare car makers from a new 25% import tax imposed on Canada and Mexico just a day after the tariffs came into effect. The new tariffs, which are a tax applied as goods enter the country, were poised to disrupt a third of car production in North America within a week, according to analysts at S&P Global Mobility. Shares in Ford were up by more than 5% after the announcement, while General Motors shares rose more than 7%. Stellantis shares in the United States rose more than 9%. Ford said in a statement the company will continue to have a healthy and candid dialogue with the administration, and touted its investment of billions in the United States. Finally, Microsoft has walked away from some of its commitments with cloud computing provider CoreWeave in a significant blow to a company seeking to launch a blockbuster £35 billion initial public offering next month. However, Microsoft has withdrawn from some of its agreements over delivery issues and missed deadlines, according to people with knowledge of the matter. Microsoft has agreed to spend more than $10 billion on CoreWeave services by 2030 under 5 contracts between the two companies. Deals with Microsoft represented 62% of CoreWeave's total revenues last year, according to public disclosures.
Let's now move to the trading floor, where turnover at the Nairobi Securities Exchange dipped to 593 million shillings from yesterday's 961 million shillings. Safaricom, that is expected to mark 18 years since the introduction of M-Pesa, moved 12.9 million shares. That represent 39% of the day's turnover.
Insurance company Liberty was the biggest gainer during today's trading, with its share appreciating by 9.83%. Other top gainers were Eagers Limited, Sanlam Insurance Holdings, Everready East Africa and Flame Tree Group Holdings. On the other hand, Standard Group led the pack of top 5 losers after shedding 3.22% of its value. Other losers were Longhorn Kenya, Home Africa, Bank of Kigali and TransCentury. This turnover dropped to 593 million shillings from yesterday's 961 million shillings, with the number of shares traded reducing to 29 million against 42 million posted in the last session. The banking sector, that is this month announcing the 2024 full-year results, moved transactions for 324 million shillings, representing 54.57% of the day's traded value. Safaricom, which is tomorrow expected to mark 18 years since it launched mobile money platform M-Pesa, had 12.9 million shares traded worth 232 million shillings, accounting for 39% of the day's total turnover. Bonds worth 7.8 billion shillings were transacted on 127 deals. The NSE 20 share index rose 18.18 points, while the all-share index NASI was up 1.29 points. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio. Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa, because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi. Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile ndio naendesha hivi. Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto.
You must be Pamela, right?
It is Mrs. Kaikara to you.
Let me prepare something small for you.
Thank you. I'm well staffed. Hiyo itatupunguzia hasara.
You make a very good cop. Unajua hujakuja tu kunicongratulate. These people are watching each and every move that you're making. Uchunge sana usisleep wewe.
Watu na waelewa. I forgot all about life. If life feels that way, then why did you leave it? And that's one thing, Mwelewi. My life is my career.
I will summon my husband.
Let's talk outside.
What has brought you to Kenya? A wife needs to take good care of the hubby. Why did you have to come all the way? Mr. Kaikara here was very well taken care of by Jacinta. Who is she?
Ima na wendo mwingi tugikuthokia Embu County, the land of opportunities. Kambunene ya Ngemi FM mushi worata.
Twegagure na kamwetha kama vyumeto. Muroro kiande tukunye maire na murori tuthie thokore besa mivukore cha
manje makiyara uranje mure cietu cia thitima na ronje ruwathagana nyamu cia kithaka igitugemeria bururi wetu wa mbere Embu County. Ngemi FM tikomuno tukianirira na mugambo munene eno ni
Ngemi FM
musie wa urata.
Eno ni nyumba nene
Musie wa urata.
Ngemi FM 103.5.
I mean, hey, and there comes the sports lady herself, Kibet. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you? It's been long since we were together on the same set. It's so glad to have you.
I mean, you need to tell me why you have been all this long time, but I know you're keeping well.
Yes.
And you are telling me something about the WRC Safari Rally. I mean, we are talking about 13 days to go.
Yes.
And where is the vibe? Where is the noise about it? What's happening?
I do not have an answer to that, but I know it will start on the 20th to the 23rd of this month in Naivasha, and we do hope that by then all Kenyans will be psyched up to attend and be part of that noble event.
Tell me this, are you going to Vasha?
No, I won't be going to Naivasha. It's my birthday weekend,
Whoa.
so I'll be focusing on my birthday, but I know I will follow it live right here on KBC.
I mean, I'm just trying to
Channel 1.
imagine birthday in Naivasha. Oh Lord, that's a great combination. It can't get better than that.
If
but
you know
what?
rally, the dust, I don't need that for my birthday weekend.
You don't need that for your birthday. All right. I mean, let's get sporting with the sports news.
Thank you so much, O'Brien. But I do hope that many Kenyans will turn up on the 28th to 23rd to watch the WRC. It's now time for sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, the Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay will be completed this year, with the government investing 500 million Kenya shillings for the remaining renovation works at the 10,000-seater stadium. Now, Cabinet Secretary for Sports Salim Mvurya toured the stadium today as he continues to push for completion of football grounds in the country ahead of the 2 continental tournaments to be hosted in Kenya, the Africa Nations Championship in August this year and the Africa Cup of Nations in 2027. The tour comes barely 3 months after President William Ruto visited the ground to ensure the stadium is ready to co-host the 2 continental tournaments with Uganda and Tanzania. Key areas are being worked on at the stadium in Homa Bay, including the terraces and changing rooms.
The people of Homa Bay should also feel that this project is here in Homa Bay by being given priority for all the jobs that the contractor is doing here. Because Homa Bay here has all the skills, I'm sure there are no skills that we'll be looking for from Nairobi, and we want to encourage the contractor to utilize the youth from this area so that when the stadium is completed, they can also have money in the pockets.
The President promised on 27th of December 2024, and he was here with Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and he promised that this stadium is going to be done. And in keeping with his promise, in keeping that promise, today you have seen the minister here and the contractor on site.
Now it's now down to the final touches as Kenya prepares to host the WRC Safari Rally Kenya from the 20th to the 23rd of this month. Wild rally drivers are expected to start arriving in the country next week in readiness for the 3rd round of the Wild Rally Championship, which will be the longest this time round with 384-kilometer competitive mileage. The 2 new stages that have been introduced in the 2025 edition, the Camp Moran, which is the longest stage with a distance of 31.09 kilometers, with features that will offer the ultimate test for the rally drivers, according to the clerk of course, George Mwangi. Drivers are relishing the challenge ahead, among them the M-Sport and Hyundai team, who have decided to opt for reliability rather than outreach performance to ensure a clean rally. This year's event will also be more spectacular, more spectator-oriented, with the introduction of the Mzabibu stage. The WRC Safari Rally Kenya event director Norris Ongalo is promising another thrilling championship where fans will be spoiled for choice in the new setup.
Is already in Mombasa. By 13th, service park could be up and running. So there'll be a beehive of activity in Service Park. It is the first time we're having women leading stages. It's the first time we're having women and all, the second time in the history of WLC to having women as an all women teams as stewards.
We are at the tail end of the preparations. So far, so good. Since August, we've been round about the route. We are just doing the final touches. From Monday, we are all relocating to Naivasha in time for the documentation on Sunday.
Kenya's junior starlets left the country today morning for Uganda, just a day after head coach Mildred Cheche named her squad for the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup second-round qualifier against Uganda. The squad features a mix of fresh talents and some familiar faces from the previous qualification campaign, including Captain Halima Imbachi, Michelle Waithera, Lorraine, Genevieve Mithel, and Lindy Way. Fresh from their historic World Cup debut in the Dominican Republic, the team is eager to build on that experience and secure an early advantage in the two-legged tie. The first leg will be played this Saturday at the Nakivubo Ham Stadium, while the second leg is set for Nairobi on the 16th of March. The winner of the two-legged tie will advance to the third round of the qualification campaign. And finally, Viola Chemweno won a double during the Bingwa Fest Nairobi Region Athletics Series held at the Nairobi West Prison's grounds, where she romped to victory in the 10,000-meter and 5,000-meter races as Nixon Kogei won the men's 10,000-meter race. Chemweno claimed victory in the women's 10,000 meters race when she crossed the finish line in 34 minutes and 38.8 seconds. She was followed by Diana Jepkemoi, who clocked 34 minutes and 47.4 seconds, while Sharon Jepkemoi secured third place in 35 minutes and 0.05 seconds. Embu-based Mary Mananu, who had led at the fifth lap but could not maintain the pace, settled for fourth, followed by Fancy Chepkorir. Chemweno later doubled her success when she won the 5,000-meter race in 16 minutes and 26.6 seconds. Mercy Jepkemoi finished second, ahead of Mary Mananu, who at least took the third place in 16 minutes and 45.4 seconds. In the men's 10,000-meter race, Nixon Kogei clinched the title in 28 minutes and 58 seconds. Dennis Kipkirui followed closely in second place with a time of 29 minutes, while Bernard Kipkemboi secured third place in 29 minutes and 5 seconds. And those were all the sports stories we had for you tonight. My name is Karen Kibet. I'll see you tomorrow for Easy Friday. Don't go too far, because right after this short break, my colleague O'Brien will be back with more. Good night.
Jet A1, cheza aviator bila data, bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Aviator bila data, aviator bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobet.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
So you came here just to check on me?
Yeah.
Don't you have interviews?
Today's Saturday.
Forget it. You know too well what kind of person Yang Yang is. He's so stubborn that he can't bring himself to beg others. He won't rely on others.
So that means it's a long story between you and her. A TV series?
You've got my point.
Doctor!
Well, we're coming to the tail end of this bulletin tonight. I mean, thank you so very much indeed for joining us. And of course, the big interview is coming up next with Karen Jenga and not Karen Jenga, but Regina Manyara-Gitau. And the question is, the Nairobi Securities Exchange plans to issue a gender bond as part of the boss's financial inclusivity strategy aimed at increasing participation of women in the capital markets, where Regina Manyara engages Nairobi Securities Exchange Chief Executive Officer Frank Mweti on measures being taken to gender inclusion and equality. I mean, this interview is wrapping up our conversation tonight. Thank you so very much indeed for joining us. My name is O'Brien Kimani. We'll see you on Thursday. Have a good night.
The symbolism of Ring the Bell for gender equality is not lost at a time when across the globe there's a call for financial inclusion and women to be seated at the decision-making table and moving away from dependency to independence. To take us through this conversation is none other than the Chief Executive Officer at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Frank Mweti. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me again. And yes, you're right. Today we are ringing the bell for gender equality. This is an event that is happening around the world. Almost over 122 exchanges around the world are ringing the bell.
Why is it of import when it comes to financial inclusion?
I think three things. The first one is to bring attention and visibility to the need to include women in our markets, our financial markets, in our economic activities, in leadership positions, in decision making. And exchanges around the world play a very important role in our economies. And so as a beacon of private sector activity in any economy, we have a very good platform to bring attention to this topic. Number two, women actually are a very, very important cog to economic activity in any country. And so we can't say that we are an inclusive economy, an inclusive market, a relevant exchange, if in fact 50% of the population is actually not participating in our market or being given the opportunity or taking the opportunity to actually get involved in economic activity, more so around the capital markets.
So in the last 10 years, because this is the 10th that we are actually seeing this, at the Nairobi boss, what has been the change? You know, what impact has this had? Yeah.
The impact has actually been quite pronounced. The first thing, as I said, is to first bring visibility and attention to this theme, that we need to involve, include, and work collaboratively with women around the country. Number two, the change we've seen is that we've actually seen an increase in participation in our market by women, whether it's us from an investment perspective or in fact attending some of our other investor education training and financial literacy type events that we hold to share information and bring clarity to activities and opportunities that are available in the market.
Can you quantify this increase in the women, activities since we started creating visibility through Ring the Bell for gender equality?
Maybe the way I would quantify it is to say, we started off with fairly small events. Today you've seen we have a huge event where our chief guest is CS Rebecca Miano, the Minister for Tourism and Wildlife. We've had senior representatives from UN Women. We've had senior representatives from International Finance Corporation, IFC. So the visibility is there. The attendance is way bigger. More importantly, we can see, as I said at the NEC, we can see the uptick by women in either the training programs that we run, the investor education programs that we run, as well as, of course, direct trading on our exchange. So the uptick is there now. Is there work to do? Yes, there's still work to do. For example, we would want to have more women-owned businesses listed on the NSE. Would want to see more women-owned businesses raising capital from our exchange. Would want to see more women-focused products, financial products, being rolled out through our exchange or the larger capital market. So the work is not done.
So what is the import of having, a gender diverse investment portfolio?
First thing, let's start off with first acknowledging that studies have shown that businesses that incorporate women and embrace equality actually in the long run perform better. They are more profitable, they are more innovative, they are a better place to work. Okay, so if no other reason, if for any other reason, if there's no other reason to embrace this theme, that's a good one. The second thing is we are seeing more boards, for example, for our listed companies having more women in their boards. We are seeing more women rising up the management ladder. So we think that there's, of course, value in that. Now, from a gender balanced investment portfolio perspective, truth be told, we still have a lot of work to do to have more gender inclusive portfolios or portfolios that are more customized to the needs of, let's say, for example, the women category. However, I think we should start from where we are, which is this, that even with the existing products, women should be able to participate in them, to invest in them, to embrace those products, because by nature they are not products that are necessarily designed for one gender, But we recognize, for example, that there is need to do more specific products. A good example is that we will be working on issuing a gender bond at the Nairobi Securities Exchange together with our partners, and that gender bond will then, the proceeds of the gender bond would then be used to support women-owned businesses, women entrepreneurs, and women leaders. So that would be one of the more direct way to actually move from talking to actually action. And the appetite is there for this sort of instruments, and NEC is taking the lead to champion this as one of our tangible ways of contributing.
So what I'm hearing, new CEO, is that you are working to have the board support women-led enterprises, especially, startups in terms of capital. But then the question is, how many women-led businesses or even just entrepreneurs on an individual capacity are aware of these programs that are tailored towards, at least, helping them with capital?
So I guess one of the reasons we are having this conversation, or we are having the event today, is exactly that. I think you've nailed the point, that more attention and visibility needs to come to this theme, so that then we can now move, having created the attention, the awareness, the understanding, it's much easier now to collaborate and partner to bring solutions now to the market. So we are starting with awareness, okay? And the event around globally is actually meant to bring that awareness, to first of all, to acknowledge that women have an equal role in participating in economic development among other roles, and number two, that we can move from just discussing to products, action, real outcomes, okay? So I think the first thing, the mere fact that we are having these conversations and your viewers will interact with this sort of conversation already brings that visibility. Now, the next step will be saying, now that we've raised awareness, how do we then now craft real solutions that we can now roll out? And so next time when you're interviewing me, hopefully we'll be discussing the products we've rolled out, the programs we've delivered, and more importantly, the results and the impact that we've seen.
What about the training? You may be aware of what is available there, but are you capable of tapping into that particular product? Where does the NSE come with training to enable women actually trade on the bourse?
A good question. Now, you asked me earlier what progress have we made since the first time we rang the bell.
Yes.
NSE created and launched a program called NSE Empower Her. Okay? NSE Empower Her. And that program is specifically designed to provide investor education, financial literacy, and awareness specifically to women on the opportunities that are available in our exchange and in the larger capital markets, but more importantly, how to actually harness those opportunities. Okay, the NSE Empower program has been very successful. We've supported, we've interacted with thousands and thousands of women, both professional women, women-owned businesses, non-professional women, etc. Now, that program, we want to scale it Okay, we want to scale NSC Empower Her to be a bigger program, okay, that touches more and more lives in our country, and hopefully beyond that as well. Number two, we've recently designed what we are calling NSC She. Okay, again, this is a program specifically focused on supporting primarily girls, so that they can start getting financial literacy from an early age, so that by the time they come into the economic sector, they are better equipped and better skilled and more aware of the opportunities that are available in the market. So you will be seeing a lot more of that. But again, as I said, when we have this conversation down the road, we will be talking about outcomes.
Outcomes. I like that. So how do you think this is going to impact, on matters of governance and financial stability in the economy in general?
You might have heard C.S. Miano quote a point that businesses and organizations that include women in their governance structures, in their leadership, and in their management perform better. They are more stable, they are more profitable in the long run, they are more responsive to the larger community, they are more inclusive. So, for example, at the NSC, we interact with almost 60 listed companies that are listed on our exchange across 10 sectors, okay? Manufacturing, banking, insurance, transport, telecoms, etc. Now, part of what we do is work with these listed companies to improve corporate governance. For example, we have the ESG guidelines together with the CMA code that is part and parcel of us championing governance that is also inclusive and that is balanced. Okay, all this is part of the drive to actually, capacity build the ecosystem, so that then we can have better leadership, more inclusive governance, but more importantly, we see the fruits of that as even more successful organizations, Kenyan organizations, and ultimately African organizations. It is also good to note that these sort of initiatives help create role models that our daughters, our sisters, our other women colleagues and friends can see and emulate, so that it's much easier to relate, I guess, to a role model that's closer to you. So by nurturing these role models and also including them in all this discourse that we have, the other women can actually see the art of the possible, and we use that as a basis to then also uplift themselves and see that there is space. It is also good that us men also embrace this and create, and be ready to be inclusive, so that our mothers, our aunties, our sisters, our wives, our daughters are part and parcel of the economic activities that we are all doing. All of us have good ideas. It's about coming together now, sharing those ideas and doing better as a lot.
Now, CEO, from where you sit, in the public domain, trading in the Nairobi Stock Exchange looks very elitist, far away, far removed from Wanjiko and the likes. And if you look at a majority of women-led businesses at smallholder at that particular level, have you directed programs that are going to actually open up the NSC to Wanjiko, who is maybe running a shop down there in Kitale and wants to invest?
Yes, this is a very, very, very important point you raised. Very important point. And you're right, Wanjiko, Atieno are not necessarily included in our a lot of the initiatives that we've done in the past. But we have a new NSC that has a new strategy for 2025-2029. That new strategy, at the core of it, is revitalizing our markets by bringing back retail investors, whether domestic or diaspora. As far as the mass market, including the mass market is concerned, what we are doing is three things. Number one, we are designing and rolling out large-scale financial literacy and education programs, so that my mom in my village, your mom in where you come from, are also able to access this information. And we're doing that, we are designing that to be as inclusive as possible, including rolling out programs in local language, okay, in media, through media and channels that everyone can access to. Number one. Number two, we are working with our other capital market stakeholders to design products that are more accessible, so that you don't need to be financially technical. You don't need technical know-how to actually be able to understand these products and choose whether to invest in them or otherwise, okay? Number three, we are working with our listed companies to design issuer programs so that these companies that are already listed, think Safaricom, Equity, KCB, EABL, Kengen, KPLC, all these guys, so that we can now work with them to say, how do you integrate the larger market, so that we climb, as you say, off our elitist tower and actually go to the market. And the truth is, the market is actually out there. It's in the counties, it's in the shopping centers, it's in the town centers. So we are doing that. And you're right to raise this point. And the beauty of it is the new strategy that our board approved last year, that we've started implementing this year, actually talks to that. And we are keen, of course, to make a success of that.
Now, as we bring this to a close, Frank Mwiti, this particular push to have gender equality in the stock exchange, of what significance will it have when it comes to wages of women, or other earnings to women, and also ownership of property and, either tangible or intangible for this particular demographic?
So it is right. It is correct to say that there is significant areas of improvement as far as financial inclusion is concerned. Women's ability to access capital, women's ability to get opportunities, and including also equal pay for equal work, and among other things. Now, these are not just complex challenges; they are challenges that go beyond matters financial. There is also social dynamics around it. You heard today the commissioner from the National Gender and Equality Commission mention a lot of the initiatives that that commission is driving to bring more attention to this. And I believe, at least from some of the conversations I've been party to, that there are efforts being made by our government to ensure that we have policies that actually enable these issues to be sorted out at a policy level. So that matters, for example, equal pay for equal work, opportunity, access to capital, access to investment opportunities, access to procurement, okay, that different entities, including government, make, that those are available equally to both women and men. I think maybe in conclusion, we should also be conscious not to push the needle all the way so that we then have a boy-child problem. Okay, I think it is important to have a good balance. But I think the journey has started. I think it started actually. It's still accelerating. And I believe that the strides are actually very positive and the trend is very encouraging. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Experts there, and with us has been none other than the Chief Executive Officer at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Frank Mwiti. They're opining that having more women participate in this particular sector, that's the finance sector, is going to do us more good, especially when Kenya is gravitating and working towards financial inclusion for all. A little bit with caution that it has to be gender balance, both for men and women, and more awareness and sensitization of programs that are targeted at women. Well, that is it. I'm Regina Manyara. I hand you back for normal broadcast.
Inua jamii karibu nawe kwa haraka na urahisi. Kwa sasa, malipo ya Inua Jamii yanapatikana moja kwa moja kupitia simu ya mkononi. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako kwa niaba ya Wizara ya Leba na Huduma za Jamii.
Shilingi 1,000? Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Kesho yangu mkuri. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Nataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings! Inch TV Smart 1,000 Kenya shillings! Yes!